I thought I was crazy, but then I rewatched Season 3 and realized it's not just me. During that Aneesia fight... Is that Aneesia? Aneesia, alright. During that Aneesia fight... During that Aneesia fight, something felt off. I paused and it hit me. Invincible's story is falling apart. The pacing is all over the place, the character development is weak, and it's hard to ignore that the arcs aren't just coming together. Season 1 had such a tight narrative, but now it's chaos. The first major issue is the pacing, and it's all over the place. Season 1 was pretty much perfect. It had this great balance of episodic, villain of the week stuff while building up to the Guardian Massacre and Omni-Man reveal. But Season 2 and 3, well, they were weirdly structured. Season 2 had that bizarre mid-season break that killed all the momentum. And when you really break it down, what was the main storyline? The Angstrom-Levi stuff feels disconnected, and by the time we get to that finale, it's like watching 5 different shows at once. Reddit users mentioned how Season 2 lacked a cohesive, serialized arc, and they're absolutely right. Season 3 is arguably worse. What's the actual plot? Mark's trauma? Sizzle's conflicts? Time travel? Viltrumites showing up but not really doing anything yet? It feels like they're stalling for time before getting to the Viltrumite War, which comic readers know is the biggest arc of the entire series. Instead, we get episodes about B-grade villains while fans are expecting cosmic-level threats. It's like ordering a steak dinner and getting served the appetizers for 2 hours. One Reddit user summed it up perfectly, saying Season 3 feels like random BS, despite having strong individual episodes. And you know what? He's right. The episodes themselves can be fantastic, emotional, well-written, great character moments, but they don't build on each other in a satisfying way. It's like having 10 really good short stories instead of one coherent novel. And that Season 2 Episode 3 that IGN called overstuffed with half-baked subplots, it's trying to do so much at once that Mark and Debbie's emotional journey gets lost in the noise. This is a show that can absolutely nail character moments when it focuses, but instead, it's constantly juggling too many balls and dropping a few in the process. The second big issue, character development, especially when it comes to Mark Grayson himself. Don't get me wrong, I love Invincible, but let's be honest here. Sometimes it feels like Mark's just reacting to chaos instead of actually shaping the story. He drifts through battles and dramas like a passenger and not a driver. One Reddit user even called him a blank slate, saying he's more of a plot puppet than a protagonist with real agency, and they're not entirely wrong. If that take made you flinch or not in agreement, you better smash like, hit subscribe, and share this before someone reports it for too much truth. Think about it, Mark forgives his dad for, murdering the Guardians of the Globe and nearly killing him, but then holds grudges against others for much less. His moral compass spins like a top sometimes, and while that can make for complex characterization, it just often feels inconsistent. The show tries to address this by giving Mark more agency, but then Season 3 seems to have dropped the Viltrumite Rage storyline that made Mark so interesting in Season 2. It's like they introduced this fascinating aspect of his character and then just forgot about it. And don't even get me started on Amber. In the comics, her breakup with Mark over his constant disappearance feels justified. In the show, they changed it so she knew he was invincible all along, but was mad he didn't tell her. Which makes her seem unreasonable for being upset that he ditched her during the university attack. This change sparked huge backlash online with fans worried it fuels Amber hatred for no good narrative reason. It's a perfect example of how changing source material doesn't always improve the story. The third major problem is handling of controversial storylines, and we need to talk about the elephant in the room. It's Aneesia's storyline. If you're a comic reader, you know exactly what I'm talking about. For those of you who don't, in the comics, Aneesia, a female Viltrumite, forces herself on Mark to conceive a child. It's sexual assault, plain and simple, but the comics handle the aftermath in a way that many readers found extremely problematic. Many fans have expressed concerns about how the show will handle this storyline, and it's a sentiment shared by a significant portion of the community. The show has already introduced Aneesia in Season 2, but portrayed her more compassionately than in the comics. Some articles suggest that the show might sidestep this storyline altogether, which many fans would see as a good thing. It's one of those rare cases where deviating from the source material might actually improve the narrative. Not all shock value is good storytelling, and this particular plotline struck many as gratuitous trauma without meaningful narrative payoff. And then there's the reboot arc, the storyline where Mark gets sent back in time to relive events in an alternate timeline. Some fans love the emotional depth and the second chance narrative, but others feel it drags the story away from the main plot for too long. It's a divisive moment in the comic, and if the show adapts to it closely, it risks stalling the momentum just when things should be exhilarating. Another issue: tonal whiplash. Invincible swings between brutal, weighty themes like trauma, genocide, and betrayal, and then throws in meme fodder moments and awkward college romance plots. It wants to be a grounded drama and a hyper-violent satire and a light teen show all at once. The result? Some of its heaviest scenes lose their impact. When you're cutting from a massacre to a relationship joke, it's hard to know what emotional gear the audience is supposed to be in. One ex-user called the comic tragedy, suggesting some of these shocking moments exist purely for shock value rather than meaningful narrative development. And while I wouldn't go that far, there's a grain of truth here. The violence and trauma in Invincible sometimes feels excessive relative to the emotional impact it's trying to achieve. Now, I don't want this to come across as me hating on Invincible, quite the opposite. I wouldn't care enough to make this video if I didn't love the show. It's because I see no much potential that these storyline problems frustrate me. When Invincible is firing on all cylinders, like in Season 1 finale or the train episode in Season 2, it's some of the best television out there. The show has proven it can deliver emotional gut punches and complex character work when it focuses. So what could fix these issues? First, the show needs to commit to a clearer narrative arc per season. Season 1 worked because everything built toward the Omni-Man reveal and confrontation. Season 2 and 3 feel like they're marking time before getting to the Viltrumite War. Second, they need to be more selective about which storylines from the comics they're adapting. Not everything needs to make it to the screen, especially problematic elements like the Aneesia storyline. Third, they need to give Mark more agency as a protagonist. Let his choices drive the plot rather than having him constantly react to external threats. And finally, they need to decide what kind of show they want to be. Is it a serious drama about trauma and family, or is it an over-the-top superhero satire? It can have the element of both, but it needs a consistent tone to anchor the narrative. The real issue here is that Invincible might be trying to be too faithful to its source material in some ways while challenging other elements. The comic itself had pacing problems, particularly in its latter half. And by slavishly adapting certain elements while changing others, the show risks inheriting the weakness of the comics while creating new problems of its own. Despite all these criticisms, I want to emphasize that Invincible remains one of the most ambitious and compelling superhero shows out there. Its willingness to tackle complex themes and character dynamics set it apart from most of what's available in the genre. The voice acting is stellar, even if it's eating too much of the budget, and when the show nails a moment, it really nails it. The emotional core of the story. Mark's relationship with his father and his struggle to define himself outside of Omni-Man's shadow is compelling and well executed. The show excels at character moments like Debbie's journey in Season 2 or Eve's development throughout the series. When it focuses on these interpersonal dynamics, Invincible soars. And let's not forget about the improvements the show has made to the comics. Cecile and Debbie are now far more developed characters in the show, and many of the side characters have been given more depth and nuance. The creative team clearly understands these characters and wants to do them justice. Invincible has a storyline problem, but it's fixable. With tighter seasonal arcs and smarter adaptation choices, the show can still hit its full potential. The world is rich, the stakes are real, and the characters deserve better pacing. Cautiously optimistic, the creative team has shown that they're not afraid to tweak the source material when needed. If they keep that up, Invincible could become one of the most greatest superhero adaptations ever. What do you think? Could Invincible's story have benefited from deeper character exploration? Let me know in the comments. Like and share if you've enjoyed it, and don't miss our previous video where we explore why Omni-Man's love is scarier than his rage. Subscribe for more.